What if I told you there's a secret team of code breakers? They worked in almost complete silence, hidden from the world while the fate of the world hung in the balance. What if they had changed the course of history forever? It sounds like the start of a movie, doesn't it? But this story is real. And if you stick with me until the end, I promise you, it will blow your mind. So let's go back in time to a place where the past comes alive. We all know the internet is a big part of our daily lives, right? Whether it's scrolling through social media feeds or doing research, we use it for everything. Well, it turns out that what we do today wouldn't be possible without a man named Alan Turing. He was a brilliant mathematician and computer scientist who helped crack one of the most complex codes of World War II, the Enigma code. And it's mind-blowing to think that his invention, the bomb machine, paved the way for modern computers. But before we dive deeper, remember to stay tuned for more updates. Now let's get started. World War II was raging, and the Germans were using a machine called Enigma to encrypt their messages. This machine was really complicated, generating billions of letter combinations every day. The Allies desperately needed to decode these messages to stay one step ahead. Alan Turing and his team of code breakers at Bletchley Park rose to the challenge. Working tirelessly, they made significant progress in cracking the Enigma code, shortening the war, and saving countless lives. Their work remained top secret for decades, but today we can appreciate their immense contribution to history. As the war escalated, the British government realized that they needed a way to decipher the encrypted German messages. If they could figure out the code, they could learn about enemy plans and potentially turn the tide of the war. Enter Alan Turing, a brilliant mathematician who had been working on breaking codes for the government. Turing was a true genius, capable of thinking outside the box and coming up with innovative solutions to the most complex problems. When he learned about the Enigma code, he knew that it would take a special kind of machine to decipher it, and so he set out to create the bomb. Before we talk about the bomb, we need to understand Enigma. The Enigma machine was a piece of German military technology developed in the early 20th century. The first version of the machine was used by the German army in World War I, but it was quickly phased out after the war ended. However, by the outbreak of World War II, the Germans had developed a much more sophisticated version of the Enigma machine. This new machine was incredibly complex, consisting of 3 rotors, each containing 26 letters of the alphabet. As each letter was typed, the machine would move a series of electrical contacts, scrambling the message. And since the German military changed the settings of the machine daily, it was nearly impossible to predict the scrambled letters. To put it simply, the Enigma machine was like a very advanced version of a Caesar cipher, which was used to encrypt secret messages, instead of shifting each letter of the alphabet by a certain number of places. The Enigma machine scrambled the letters using a combination of rotors and electrical wiring. This made it much more difficult to decipher the meaning of the encrypted message. To make matters even more challenging, the Enigma machine was used extensively by the German military during World War II, both for communicating between troops and for transmitting sensitive information between military leaders. Now let's meet the man who cracked the Enigma code, Alan Turing. Alan Turing was born in London in 1912 and grew up in a suburb of Manchester. From an early age, he showed signs of being a brilliant mathematician, often solving complex problems that stumped his teachers. After graduating from Cambridge University, Turing joined the British government's Code and Cipher Department in 1938. His job was to help break the Enigma code, and he quickly got to work. Turing knew that breaking the Enigma code would be a monumental task, but he was up for the challenge. With the help of a small team of mathematicians and engineers, he began developing a machine that could do the heavy lifting. After months of hard work and countless setbacks, Turing and his team finally created the bomb. The name doesn't sound particularly threatening, does it? In fact, it kind of sounds like something you'd find at a playground. But don't be fooled. The bomb was a powerful and innovative machine that was instrumental in breaking the Enigma code. The bomb was designed to test thousands of Enigma settings in a matter of minutes, a task that would have taken a human operator hours or even days to accomplish. The machine worked by imitating the Enigma machine and then testing different settings until it found the right combination. Once the bomb was up and running, it was able to quickly test thousands of Enigma settings, narrowing down the possibilities until the code was broken. You might be wondering why it was so important to break the Enigma code. Well, the Germans used the Enigma machine to encrypt all sorts of sensitive information, including troop movements, military strategies, and even plans for the D-Day invasion. By breaking the code, the Allies gained valuable intelligence that helped them win the war. In fact, it has estimated that the bomb and other code-breaking efforts at Bletchley Park shortened the war by at least 2 years, potentially saving millions of lives. Imagine if someone had invented the smartphone back in the 1940s. We probably wouldn't have any of those fancy apps or features that we rely on today. That's how far ahead of its time the bomb was. So just how did Turing and his team manage to build such an advanced machine? Well, it wasn't easy. They faced countless obstacles and setbacks, but they never gave up. Turing's brilliance and determination were key to the success of the project, and without his leadership, it's unlikely that the bomb would have ever been created. After the war, Turing and his team's work was kept secret for decades. The British government wanted to keep their code-breaking capabilities hidden from the rest of the world. But eventually the truth came out and Turing was hailed as a hero. Unfortunately, he didn't live to see the widespread recognition of his accomplishments. He died in 1954 at the age of 41, having been persecuted for his homosexuality. Despite the tragic end to his life, Turing's legacy continues to live on. Today, we remember him as a brilliant mathematician and computer scientist who helped change the course of history. He's considered to be one of the founding fathers of computer science and artificial intelligence, and many believe that he was the father of the modern computer. So what would the world be like without Alan Turing and the bomb? Well, for starters, we probably wouldn't have any of the digital technologies that we rely on today. Computers, smartphones, and even the internet itself might not exist. That's how important Turing's work was. It literally changed the course of history. It's hard to imagine a world without computers, right? Like, think about all the things that we do online. Social media, shopping, banking, streaming, travel booking, everything is just a few clicks away. But it wasn't always like this. In fact, it wasn't too long ago that computers were huge, expensive machines that only businesses and governments had access to. But thanks to the work of pioneers like Alan Turing, computers eventually became small enough and cheap enough that everyone could have one. And then they became powerful enough that those personal computers could connect to each other and share information. That's how we got the internet, and it's hard to imagine our lives without it. So yeah, without Turing, we might still be living in a world without computers or the internet. But that's not all. Turing's work had a profound impact on many other areas of computer science as well. For example, he helped develop some of the earliest algorithms for machine learning and artificial intelligence. And he also helped develop some of the first self-correcting codes, which are used to detect and correct errors in data transmission. But despite all of his accomplishments, Turing's legacy has been tarnished by the tragic way that he died. In 1952, he was convicted of gross indecency for having a relationship with a man. At the time, homosexuality was illegal in the United Kingdom, and Turing was given the choice of going to prison or undergoing chemical castration. He chose the latter and died 2 years later. It is a sad and tragic end to the life of a brilliant man who made incredible contributions to our world. But Turing's story is also a reminder that progress is not always easy or straightforward. It took decades for the world to accept homosexuality as it should have been accepted all along. And there is still a lot of work to be done to ensure that everyone is treated equally regardless of their sexual orientation. Turing's work saved countless lives and helped end a terrible war. but it's also helped pave the way for a more tolerant and accepting world. He was a true pioneer, and his legacy will continue to inspire people for generations to come. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Remember, knowledge is power. Stay curious and keep learning. Who knows? You might just change the world. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.